Hey guys, thanks for stopping by my channel and checking out this video. My name's Reese, and first and foremost, I want to thank you all that are subscribed to my channel. As of recording this video, I hit 200 subscribers, so thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And for those of you that aren't subscribed, thanks for checking out this video. Go ahead and click that subscribe button if you're interested in personal finance and real estate. So guys, today's video is part 2 of Monday's video, which was the 5 benefits of a universal basic income system. Today's going to be 5 drawbacks / problems with a universal basic income system. I also noticed in Monday's video I said universal basic income a lot, so I'm going to abbreviate today with UBI. So guys, if you haven't seen my video from Monday about the pros, I'd encourage you to go check that one out right now before continuing with this video. I'll leave a card up at the top with a link to that first video as I go into a little bit of an explanation of what UBI is. And I think having a basic understanding of the benefits will help you follow along with this video, which is the drawbacks. Now, I initially decided to make these videos because there's a few bills floating around that promise some form of guaranteed income for an extended period of time, maybe 6 to 12 months. And that could be considered, or at least resemble, a universal basic income system. And so before everybody kind of jumps on the bandwagon with these stimulus bills and gets super excited about them because it's free money in your pocket, I did want to review the pros and cons. So guys, I'm not going to review what UBI is today. Once again, go ahead and skip back to my first video if you're interested in a little bit of an explanation on that. But today we're going to jump right into the 5 drawbacks that I'm going to highlight. So the first drawback is the potential for inflation. Now, the first and more obvious reason why we might experience extreme inflation when implementing UBI is if the government funds the program through just adding money into the system and not through budgeting and lessening expenses in other areas in order to fund the program. And so I think inflation from this method can be avoided if UBI is funded the proper way, which I got into some ideas of how that could be done in the last video. However, there is still another reason why we might experience inflation. If everyone right away were to start receiving a guaranteed form of income, then the people who don't have strong financial education and financial habits will most likely immediately start to spend that money. And so now there's more money in consumer hands that's being spent on products. And therefore, we might see strong demand for certain products. And if manufacturing can't keep up with this demand by increasing supply, then the only alternative is for prices to increase. And unfortunately, if this happens, and if the prices of products continue to increase due to increased demand, then that will pretty much negate the whole benefit of this guaranteed income, as everything costs more money. Therefore, citizens in the poverty level won't really have too much of an increased standard of living as their bare expenses have increased due to inflation. The second drawback to a universal basic income system is an unincentivized workforce. In the last video, we discussed how working out of desire and passion instead of necessity could potentially lead to increased output, as people tend to work harder towards something they love and they're passionate about than they would otherwise in a field that they don't care too much about. However, on the flip side of that, there is a strong possibility that this guaranteed form of income would disincentivize many people who are perfectly fine living off that income and staying at home playing video games all day. For example, if everyone 18 to 60 years old received $1,000 a month in guaranteed income, there will probably be a lot of young adults that don't have anybody to support and don't have that high of expenses and will just live off that money and hang out with friends or play video games, watch Netflix, whatever. This would really be a downward spiral because the budget necessary to fund a basic program giving out $1,000 a month would be somewhere in the $3 trillion a year range. And the 2019 US budget was only $4.4 trillion. So if the US GDP starts falling due to lack of production, we'll be looking at a very strong problem where there won't be enough budget to pay out this UBI program. In addition to the second drawback, the third drawback of a UBI system is that it could lead to a lack of demand for higher education. Now, I think we'll always see a lot of people that are driven in life to succeed in whatever field they're interested in and really outperform. However, there are a lot of people that are comfortable and just really want to get by and just do what they want to do every day. And at a young age, when teenagers are deciding if they want to go to college and get a good degree, They might also be weighing the decision that as soon as they turn 18, they'll be getting $1,000 a month and they can just work some part-time job for a little extra cash and put college off for a few years or never go to college. And while I'm not gung-ho for college, as I'm a real estate agent and a real estate investor, there are a lot of benefits to receiving a college degree or even an apprenticeship or a skilled labor certification, some form of education beyond high school. And I see this disincentivized workforce and lack of demand for higher education being a real problem because we're already seeing a falling labor participation rate in the United States. Drawback number 4 is that the program would be very, very expensive. As we touched on earlier and in the last video, a $1,000 a month payment program would cost the United States about $3 trillion a year. Compare this with the entire 2019 budget of $4.4 trillion, and we are almost at 75% of the entire budget. This money would have to come from somewhere, whether it be increased taxes or funding by cutting out other programs, maybe military spending, or an increase in GDP. However, a universal basic income system would replace a lot of existing welfare programs that equate to about $1.1 trillion of spending each year. This does still leave a deficit of about $1.9 trillion a year that we would need to find funding for, however. Now, there are of course options to lower that $3 trillion in spending a year, such as raising the minimum age and lowering the maximum age of a program, as well as maybe even reducing the amount of money given from, in this example, $12,000, maybe down to $6,000 a year. However, there has been research done that shows that a few $100s a month in payments really won't do too much to change the lifestyle of those that are stricken with poverty. However, I do see the financial aspect of UBI to be one of the easier aspects to solve. As we stated in the first video, UBI is becoming more popular because automation, robotics, and AI are taking a lot of jobs out of the workforce. Those companies experiencing higher profits because they're replacing jobs with robotics could be required to pay a higher corporate tax in order to offset some of the costs they're putting onto the government with this UBI system. I also touched on in the last video how money could be raised by increasing the estate tax. People with over, let's say, $1 billion or even let's say 100 million really don't need to be passing down hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to their heirs. If the estate tax were to be raised substantially, that would obviously make funding available for this system, as well as encourage the heirs of the very wealthy to remain productive members of society, as within 2 to 3 generations, the money will be gone without producing more. And finally, the 5th disadvantage is this whole system will be very difficult to get past. This is less of a disadvantage and more of just a reality check in the United States. Any system would need to be proposed as a bill and then work its way through the system to become a law. However, most people in the United States are very opposed to what they see as handouts to those that don't work. Many people in the United States are already very strongly against the welfare programs, unemployment, and fought hard against raising the minimum wage in the United States. This would all need to be overcome for a universal basic income system to make its way through the system and be passed as law. I'd love to hear some of your comments below on what you see as maybe the biggest hurdles we'd need to overcome to implement a UBI system, or perhaps some additional disadvantages I left out of this video. As well as, after watching my first video on the benefits and then this video on the cons of a universal basic income system, where do you fall? Do you believe UBI would be a benefit to America as a whole, or a big problem that we'd eventually have to get rid of down the road? I don't lean strongly either way, but I do lean slightly towards being against a universal basic income system, as I see a disincentivized workforce being a big issue. However, once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So thanks so much, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's see if I can't get to 300 subscribers here within the next month or so. I really appreciate all the support you all have been giving me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thanks so much and have a great day, guys.